Brave young man, this James O'Keefe and his brave team, Project Veritas Action. You've heard of them many, many times before. I want you to hear a few clips. Then we're going to bring James O'Keefe on to discuss. I want you to listen to this. Cut one, Mr. Producer. Go.
Wherever Trump and Pence are going to be, we have a bench.
Okay.
And we have a whole team across the country that does that. Both consultants and people from the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party apparatus and people from the campaign, the Clinton campaign. My role with the campaign is to manage all that.
All right, listen to this. This guy sounds like a mobster. His name is Bob Creamer. He's Representative Jan Schakowsky's husband out of Chicago. He's the founder of the Democratic consulting firm Democracy Partners. He just said in this hidden video, he manages these teams for the Clinton campaign. His role with the Clinton campaign is to manage these teams across the country, the Democrat Party apparatus. And what do these teams do? Well, listen to this guy, Scott Foval, also in the undercover video. Cut two, go.
There's a script.
Oh, there is a script.
There's a script.
Okay.
There's a script of engagement. Sometimes the crazies bite, and sometimes the crazies don't bite. They're starting confrontations in the line, right? They're not starting confrontations
volunteers.
in the rally, because once they're inside the rally, they're under Secret Service's control. When they're outside the rally,
They're more affected out. They're harder to get in.
the media will cover it no matter where it happens.
I assume it's always in the rally.
Initiating the conflict by having leading conversations with people who are naturally psychotic.
Right.
Okay, I mean, honestly, it is not hard to get some of these to pop off.
Right.
It's a matter of showing up to want to get into the rally in a Planned Parenthood t-shirt, or, Trump is a Nazi. You can message to draw them out and draw them to punch you.
One more, cut three, go.
She was one of our activists
She was one of your activists
who had been trained up to bird dogs.
Yes.
So the term bird dogging, you put people in the line at the front, which means they have to get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, so they're getting the front of the rally, so that when Trump comes down the rope line, they're the ones asking him the question in front of the reporters because they're pre-placed there. To funnel that kind of operation, you have to start back with people 2 weeks ahead of time and train them how to ask questions.
Right.
You have to train them to bird dog.
One more, actually. Here's another one. Let's go to cut six. This guy, his name is Aaron Black. His real name is Aaron Minter, Deputy Rapid Response Director for the DNC. Also caught on the video. Cut six, go.
Nobody's really supposed to know about me. So the Chicago protest, when they shut all that was us. It was more him than me, but...
Hold on. He's talking about Bob Creamer, the husband of Representative Jan Schakowsky. Go ahead.
Come back to us, because we want it coming from people. We don't want it to come from the party. So if we do a protest and it's DNC protest, it's right away the press is going to say partisan. But if I'm in there coordinating with all the groups on the ground and sort of playing field general, but they're the ones talking to the cameras, then it's actually people. But if we send out press advisories with DNC on them and Clinton campaign, it doesn't have the same effect.
Is this not incredible, ladies and gentlemen? James O'Keefe, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Mark. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, because the grassroots is on fire for this. It's the hottest thing online, and I'm just trying to get it in the mainstream media.
Well, let me tell you this. What you have here is hard evidence that the DNC and the Clinton campaign are behind much of the rabble-rousing that goes on at these Trump events, even agitating to violence, making spectacles of themselves so the media report on these sort of things. Tell me more about the background of this.
So this was a year-long undercover investigation, and what you see in these videos, and you played some of the clips, there's even more damning stuff. It's evidence of the Hillary Clinton campaign, Hillary herself, the DNC, and these dark operatives bragging about the fact that they're evading federal election laws, describing how they do it, in ways that trigger serious criminal penalties. This was a year-long undercover investigation. This is involving, as you said, a guy named Bob Creamer, who heads up Democracy Partners, which is paid by the campaign. Bob Creamer actually goes to the White House every week. One of our reporters was embedded with him in his office, was invited to the White House, and we heard that this was Hillary's idea to do some of these things. And this is a smoking gun video of how they induce violence at Trump rallies. This is part one. We have another one coming out tomorrow. Tomorrow will be incredibly damning as well. It's very self-explanatory. They're describing how they break the law and how they move money around illegally between super PACs and the Hillary campaign to foment this violence.
So I'm sure the New York Times and the Washington Post have sent investigative reporters to your office to get as much as they can. Is that correct?
I'll tell you what. I have been doing this for 7-8 years. I have never seen in my entire career the social media interest is unbelievable. I've gotten hundreds of thousands of tweets today, and I'm not trending on Twitter because Twitter's algorithm is trying to censor this. I'm telling you this on your show. I have been spiked by television mainstream news, even people who you and I would think are friendly to us. They, in so many words, have told me they're afraid of retaliation from the Department of Justice. This video is manifestly damning. It is smoking gun evidence of a crime. And he says Bob Creamer is no low-level guy. He says on tape, Hillary and him talk. And she came up with some of this. And the media needs to report it. And the only way they're going to report it is if, like I called into your show, if somehow your audience can tweet this out at Jake Tapper and CNN and Washington Post, we're just going to have to inundate these guys' inboxes.
It is amazing. I mean, you haven't concocted a thing, right? I mean, these people are on video, in their own words, saying these things. And I understand your point about the criminality, which is bad enough. But they're saying they're inciting these things at these Trump rallies. So they go around. For instance, this Raddatz had Gingrich on this weekend and said, in so many words, Trump and his people are kind of inciting violence and so forth. Surely she would be interested in this. James, why don't you take it to Raddatz and see if she'll do something with it?
I can. ABC News. I'm right now. What I'm doing is I've never seen anything like this. It's 100 tweets a second at me, tagging various journalists. There is a groundswell. I think you're part of it. There's a groundswell in this country. People don't believe the mainstream media anymore, so the only where else to go is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You didn't even play the most damning quotes here. There's another quote where this individual, Scott Fovel is his name, he's a Clinton operative. He says, quote, "It doesn't matter what the law is and what the ethics people say. We need to win this mother effer." And it's just the most graphic, disturbing, inside look at the souls or lack thereof of these people. And I do believe that tomorrow it'll break through. I do believe after video 2, this will finally go over the dam, so to speak.
Hold on 1 second. Let us, Mr. Producer, play cut 5. Go ahead.
Remember the Iowa State Fair thing where Scott Walker grabbed the sign out of the dude's hand, and then the dude gets kind of roughed up right in front of the stage, right? On camera? Yeah, that was all us. The guy who got roughed up is my counterpart who works for Bob.
And that was like storyboarded, that him getting roughed up or whatever?
Scenario.
So you like lent yourselves to that situation, and it happened.
We not
it was
only
a self-fulfilling prophecy.
We planted multiple people in that front area around him and in the back to make sure there wasn't just a action that happened up front. There was also a reaction that happened out back.
That's enough. James, this is the sort of thing that happens in fascist regimes and communist regimes and banana republics where they infiltrate rallies, they infiltrate things of this sort in order to create fake news that hurts the other candidate.
And Mark, the media is implicated in it. This is so strange because the media is implicated and they can't cover it because if you look at the facts in this video, they take credit for what happened in Chicago, where the rally and the protest happened, North Carolina, where the 69-year-old female protester was Shirley Teeter Shirley Teeter was one of our activists who had been trained up to bird dog. So all the violence you saw, these guys, it was funded by Hillary's campaign illegally in coordination with nonprofits. And they're taking credit for all of it. So the media is implicated, therefore it creates a constitutional crisis because the Fourth Estate can't break this story. So I have to go directly to the people And I think it's working because I'm telling you, social media, Twitter tried to shut me down in the last couple of days, and I got reinstated after the pressure that people put on Jack Dorsey, the CEO. So this really is an extraordinary series of events, and then the second video is breaking tomorrow.
Well, my little site has had you linked since early this morning. It's brought to my attention by Right Scoop and Conservative Review, which have also linked it. So I think there really is an effort to push this out because it is astonishing. Anybody on Capitol Hill interested so far?
Not to my knowledge.
Forget about them for now. They're worthless. They're probably in recess anyway.
Scott Walker's people I think, are making a statement because this was filmed partially in Wisconsin, and there's a specific voter fraud part in Wisconsin tomorrow. Donald Trump did put it on Facebook, and he embedded the video on Facebook. And what's happening right now as I speak, and this is if you're listening to this, if you go on Twitter, you're going to see a sight to behold. People are sending thousands of tweets to journalists, shaming them. Fox, by the way, Fox scheduled me, and I don't like to criticize Fox News. They scheduled me, then they just canceled me. So they're not canceling me because the story is false. They're canceling me because the story is true. And the more true it is, and the more lethal it is, and the more effective it is, the more afraid some of these publicly traded corporations are because of retaliation from the Department of Justice.
So we have already become a banana republic then, haven't we, in some respects?
Yes, and the sad truth is that the only way you're going to save the republic is if ordinary citizens take up journalism themselves, because the media is so compromised. I don't know if they'll even be dragged kicking and screaming into covering the story. I predict they will, and I think that these videos, they may be used in the debates on Wednesday, and if that happens, all bets are off. But this is as much of a story about the media as it is a story about the criminal conspiracy and dark money with Hillary Clinton.
James O'Keefe, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I watched these. I was stunned by this. Weren't you, Mr. Producer? It's absolutely disgusting. Now, most of you know, on this program, I don't run videos like this. I don't play videos like this. I don't even know how often James O'Keefe has been on. Maybe once or twice over the past 10 years. I don't know. But this was just too much. It's too much to stomach. How they're bragging about all these spectacles that they have created, how people have been roughed up, all these signs and so forth, and you think this is just happening. It's not just happening. Trust me, if this were Richard Nixon and O'Keefe was Bob Woodward, this would be plastered everywhere. You see real thugocracy. That's what you see here.